Band manager for Hunters. I just wanted to get up here and give you guys a bit of context as to what this Start Something is about and why we're doing this. As Hunters, we realized just a little while ago that the youth of this country rather, are facing a lot of adversity. There's a lot going on in the country, whether that be in life, in politics, and then just generally just trying to make it. And we've always been that brand that has been about bringing people together. The brand that is about about having us together as a people and enjoying and facing adversity. So we decided to start something. And Start Something basically is our way of giving back to the youth and the millennials of this country by giving you guys platforms. We started something by enabling each and every one of you and the fantastic up-and-coming talented musicians to start their music careers. To be able to give them stages such as this platform tonight, where you can listen to our fantastic panelists helping you find better ways to navigate this musical world, and other stages such as our rooftops and our house parties. What I would like to say is this is Start Something, and life brings the heat, and we all face an adversity. We all face adversity and challenges, but we're inspired and we're motivated to get ahead and to move past our challenges. So let's start something with the refreshment of Hunters at our side. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you guys to our fantastic panelists tonight. I hope you guys really enjoy them. I think it's a really insightful group, and thank you for coming out tonight.
Okay guys, so just to reiterate what Sam just said, Hunters is on a mission to work with Mzansi's music industry's pros to help give emerging local musicians a platform to showcase their skills. And we bring the refreshment, you bring the talents, and together we create and refresh the whole local SA music scene. So without any further ado, I'm going to be co-hosting with the King's Fiso from Gaga CFM. I'd just like to call him up and we're going to introduce our panel. So if you are an emerging artist or musician who's doing their thing and you want to just find out about branding, marketing, PR, don't be afraid, guys. Just speak up, ask questions. We've got an amazing panel and they're very insightful with their information. So yeah, man, let me hand over to King Spiso to introduce the official panel. And guys, if you have questions, please ask. This platform is specifically for you.
As Emmett has mentioned, we are here to basically share knowledge that we've gathered over the years, having worked in the industry for quite some time. And tonight to speak on PR and branding as well as digital distribution, we've got Khulu. I don't know if any of you guys know Khulu, I'm sure you do. He throws the menace parties in Durban. And we also have Pinda, who is brand manager at Gagasi for the Gagasi brand. And we have Bob Perfect, who runs one of the coolest blogs in the country called Durban is Yours. So if you guys can come up to the stage, please. Let's welcome them. Come on.
Let's give them a round of applause, guys. You can do a bit better than that.
It's not as serious, guys, it's just a little bit nervous now, so you can just chill. And
Why are you stressing me down now, man?
That's the thing.
Hunters guys.
So as mentioned, Bob runs a blog called Durban is Yours.
How's it?
Can you tell us more about that blog?
Sure, what do you want to know?
Everything.
Well, it's just a platform basically for underground Durban music, mostly. Started about 4 or 5 years ago, or like August 5 years ago probably. And since then we've just been steadily putting out whatever everyone else is putting out. And just trying to essentially let the country know what's going on like in Durban, and also letting Durbanites know what's going on in Durban, because there's quite a few, there's not enough platforms for that.
What inspired you to start the blog?
That the blogs that were around sucked. No, because after basically, like, I grew up with like Blunt and SL magazine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I looked at what was happening after Blunt died, and like, there wasn't really anything online that was representing the parts of Durban that I wanted to see online. So I got a couple of friends together and we started something.
Oh, cool.
I love that.
Cool. And you won an award.
Yeah, we won a blog award for Best Music Blog in South Africa, like, a couple of years ago. We beat East Coast Radio, so...
And we have Khulu, who's been in the event space for over a decade now. Background in advertising and marketing.
Evening, everybody. Yeah, as Fisher said, I started my career in the advertising industry. So then I've always had the passion for events and branding. And I'm currently now running the Khulu the Global Experiential, which is a below the line agency, and I also own nightclubs, you know, which people don't understand. But because of the passion of, you know, brands and events, I wanted to build brands through events, and that's why it works for me to have my own venues. And I'm planning to open up more venues where I can have a platform for artists and also building brands.
Cool. Here's a story that most people don't know. Khulu and I went to high school around the same time in Durban. So Khulu was the guy who would book a minibus taxi and load it with students who used to bunk school and throw house parties at his mom's house during school hours. So that's how it all started in Soweto, you know. We have Pinda as well. Pinda is in charge of the brand at CFM. Previously, she was with MTV, VH1, MTV Base. I'm sure she can tell us more about that.
Hi, everybody. Pina Makwaza. What I am is a brand strategist and part brand developer. I've been in this space for many, many years, 18 to be exact.
Wow.
I started out in a, believe it or not, a very boring industry, but because of my passions, I ended up in the entertainment space, and I have been doing that for about 12 years now. So yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell who I am.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing, guys. I think just to get things really going on, I would just like to ask the panel, what are your top tips in social media, like for aspiring musicians, guys who are coming up? What is that one tip that you'd like to give to them when it comes to social media?
Mine is very, very, very broad, but what I'd say is we all have our focus in terms of what we're trying to push with our brand. Just avoid the clutter, avoid the noise. So be specific about who you want to target. And yes, we all now are quite digitally savvy in terms of trying to push our brands out. So more than anything, it works in any particular space. Understand what it is about your brand that you need to put out there and try and avoid the noise.
I think for me, it's always about brand positioning yourself, you know, and stick to that. You know, don't get confused with, you know, too many, people and other influences. So you can always, you know, be innovative and reinvent your brand, but always stick to one brand positioning. Don't confuse us. Don't confuse your. I always say you don't have followers. You have an audience. Okay, so as soon as you see them as an audience, that's when you understand how you want to tell the story, and then you position yourself in a certain way.
Well, cool. I think all I can really add to that is that be authentic on top of that. So like whatever, how you positioning your brand, it still has to be you. If you are thinking about things that way, there are lots of, like especially like I follow lots of like musicians and artists, and some retweet all day, and that's horrific. Like as a follower, I mean, I get it, you want to show people, and that's understandable. But the guys that are actually like engaging in issues and actually presenting themselves as real people really do get like, they create a better narrative that makes sense. It's not just, hey, look at me, I'm doing a thing. It's, hey, I'm a real person. And lately, in 2017, I'm finding that to be a way that you can actually get ahead of the clutter.
Really love that, guys. Yeah, dude. I think being authentic is one of the points that I really believe we need to drive home more to authentic upcoming musicians, because you can get lost in the clutter when you're trying to land or trying to stick out in the crowd. Moving on, just in terms of branding as an artist, are there any top-notch tips you guys would give to that you've seen working over the years? That okay, when you present yourself like this is definitely going to work for your brand. But do you guys have any tips from your perspective?
Okay, so he touched on it very well. So be authentic, because that's first and foremost the only way you're going to move forward. Secondly, it's about make sure that you have the passion for what you're doing and you're not doing it just because that's the only next best alternative, right? Most people, I think, get into the ploy of doing something because it looks cool and it's what works right now. What I always say to people is understand this. The reason I do the job that I do is because I knew one thing. As much as I grew up as a young person that would have ended up in this space in front of the camera, I realized we can't all sing. We can't all dance. Somebody needs to get there behind and understand what the business is about and make sure that you make it your role to develop other brands, even if that's how you get involved in the space. Be genuine to yourself about who you are. Don't lie to yourself. We can see it. If you're coming to me, you're telling me you're the next best hip-hop artist and I know you can't beat anybody in the market, you're not the best. I'm not going to buy into it. The audience is also not going to buy into it. So understand those things. But more than anything else, know what your plan is with your brand. I think oftentimes we decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And we don't sit and plan, okay, so what's the plan? What happens when the industry moves a different direction? How do I get my game whilst I remain the same and true to my brand? So for me, those are very, very key things. It's passion, it's be authentic, and just know what your plan is. If you don't know those three things, you might as well not be in the space.
Yeah, I think one problem that we face, particularly in this region, and I'm saying this because I work with a lot of aspiring musicians, and producers through the radio show that I do. The focus is more on making the beats. I have this beat I want you to hear, but it's never about the guys positioning themselves as brands, to say, yo, look at me, and it all starts with the presentation, Some guys will just bring a disc that's written with a marker, and I can't even look at it, because to me, the first impression is like, you're not taking yourself seriously, and most of all, the arts that you're trying to get into seriously, So it's very important to present yourself in a way that will make, whoever you're presenting to look at you twice.
100%. I mean, I get 15 to 50 emails a day, about music. Just whether it's a single release video, an album, a mixtape, whatever. I can't listen to all of that. So how you present it definitely matters. If you're going to have, you need to have a press release. You need to have a press pack. You're approaching the press. These are things that are important. It's that's one thing in terms of branding. But what I was going to say, was you have to understand that being an artist these days is about being a storyteller. No matter what, whether you're a producer, rapper, anything. People aren't just buying into your music anymore. They're buying into you as a person. That's very much and so you have to figure out what it is about you that makes you appealing to other people and accentuate those things and hide your weaknesses or work on them. But you need to, as you were saying, take a very honest account of who you are and where you're at, and from there approach that, and that's how you brand yourself. But it's not about going and trying to be the next cool cats or the next RTC or whatever. It's about going, who am I, and then being that next person.
Yeah, completely love that. I think just to wrap up on that point, I think the point Bob is also pushing at home is weakness and strength. So iconic acts really understand their audience and they actually understand their weaknesses and they actually use that to their advantage. Most people, because of the cluster, end up trying to fit in and they come across not being authentic. Okay, cool. Just to move on the last aspect of the first topic that we're on, the word PR gets thrown around a lot. So, you know, like, I know guys are confused, like, public relations. I'm an artist, what has that got to do with me? So, can you guys just shed light on what PR is?
This is your one.
Oh man, I think sometimes you're quite right. A lot of words are used interchangeably, so PR and marketing ends up being the same and all of that. PR is essentially about understanding, first and foremost, what you are trying to sell, right? And oftentimes you need to understand that your selling it's not something that you need to push down people's throats. You need to find yourself in a space where people want to hear about you. They want to know what it is that you are doing. They want to know when you're going to do it, and they want to know how you're going to do it. And in essence, if you can understand the basis of what PR tries to respond to, you will always know what it is that you need to do. And always be current and understand what space you're working in. Everybody is different and every market is different, so it's not the same. So don't take a model for advertising a television brand and try and fit it into advertising a person. Understand that PR is also very closely linked to your reputation. So you constantly always need to understand, what is it that I'm doing in the market that makes other people talk about me? And when they do, is it good or is it bad? And as long as you can address those things, you know you're on the right step. If you know, if I picked up a phone and asked Pinda to say something about me, it would be great. That's all you need to try and achieve. Sometimes people are going to say something wrong, but what you're trying to achieve is somebody speaking in your defense. That's what PR is.
Cool. That's an amazing definition.
Well, would you like to add on that? Just said about
Yeah, I hope everyone understands what the term PR actually means now. And yeah, because as Pete is saying, you know, like, we do get confused with these terms being thrown around and it's so intimidating. So, like, I do hope you guys are taking notes. Okay, cool. So, it's about 7:15 now. I think we can tap into the next topic of the top tips in digital distribution. Yeah, okay, quick little. Okay, so I know that there's a lot of aspiring musicians and stuff over here. And, you know, like, we're always trying to get our music out. Is it like, do I put out a link? Do I get an aggregator? Do I try and get signed? So I think I'm just going to put you out to the panel and leave it up with discussion on the top tips in digital distribution when you're an upcoming musician, artist who's just trying to get out there.
Put your music on Bandcamp. Straight up, that is something that I think so many artists don't do that is so necessary. Like, while streaming is like the next level, like Spotify doesn't make any money. Like, iTunes can be useful, but like Bandcamp only takes 10%. Like, that's it. So like, iTunes takes 30%, plus you gotta go through an aggregator, plus you gotta like, to get on iTunes, it's so hard. But if you go on Bandcamp, you can charge whatever you like. It's really, really easy. That's first and foremost the main thing I would tell any musician. Is just get your music on Bandcamp.
Leave Tasafal host alone, guys. Don't make your money.
Oh shit, that's about host, that's all.
I think what I would say is, additional to that, is that whilst there is all of those platforms that currently exist, the entrepreneur in me says, create your own if you can. Don't always rely on what somebody else has created. If you know somebody that can assist you with creating your own platform that you make your own money from, rather go for that route before you give your money to somebody else.
On my side, obviously, I'm not, really into that with side, I'm still the awesome guy, but
no tickets.
I'm still the guy that push, fly guys, But I mean, one thing I said, I think I fully agree with it. I've seen with a lot of guys I've worked with and how they become these social media platforms, and I think it was good for them.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not just like obviously get on Bandcamp. It's get on Bandcamp, Spotify, SoundCloud, on everything. Because before you send music to me or you send music to you guys, or you send music anywhere, like you need to have some sort of buzz. You need to have some sort of name behind you. And getting your music on literally any platform starts that. Then pick the next hard beat early in the morning. Anyway. No, but like before you can get like on like the bigger blogs, on the bigger websites and stuff, you need to be getting your music out there. And you need to have stuff be seen, and then you start submitting your stuff to the smaller blogs, and then they pick it up, and then you start submitting your music to the big websites using that as collateral. So that's one of the main tips I'd actually use in digital distribution.
Yeah, I think also just to add on that, because I think you touched on an important point of build believable hype. So like, even like if it means, using your direct family or people who believe in you when it comes to the music, get them talking about the stuff, like try and create an authentic buzz before you just start shooting out to blogs and
even 10 people on Twitter can actually create some reasonable buzz, because that does go beyond just your immediate circles. Asking, and it's not a big ask, and I know a lot of artists have started that way, genuinely, and also what I think artists should be doing is working with each other, like you guys, with Afghan, the way you promote each other's music, it solidifies it, online, it creates an identity together. And then now when you or Breeze or someone releases music in that, I know about it because of each of you working together and promoting each other together as a team. Having a crew and having a support base is so important in music these days.
And I think over the past couple of years, about 5-6 years, we've seen the rise of independent labels, and that's been through the distribution channel that is digital, So most kids are still looking at getting signed, and there's nothing wrong with it, but you can take this into your own hands, make it work for yourself, as opposed to trying to get, Universal or Sony to sign you up. No, do something and try hustle for the deal, as you start getting yourself out there, it works a lot more easier for them to meet you halfway, as opposed to them meeting you as a nobody who's never done anything. So it's very important.
Okay, cool. Guys, just in closing, I'd just like to ask if anyone has any questions, the floor is open now. So if you do have any questions with any of the topics that we spoke on, don't be afraid, guys, to just pick up your hand and ask the question.
Questions?
Come on, guys, questions.
Hey, can you hear me? First of all, I'd like to just say this is a really cool thing that you guys are doing, so whoop whoop, keep that up please guys. I have two questions. The first one is, do you think there's any a gray place where you can associate yourself with a brand that doesn't necessarily stand with your core values, but they bring the chisel? Is there any way to work around that? And then secondly, it's related to more PR, really, to ask what are your one-on-one your tips for networking? For example, if you came into a space like this, there's a lot of relevant people, but you don't want to be awkward, creepy, hey, hi, nice to meet you, but at the same time, you don't want to miss your opportunity to speak to someone who could be relevant in your, career.
Okay. Can I address the second question first, and then I'll go to the first question. In terms, networking is a big one, and I think we all do it, and we spend so much time networking with people. The first question, or the question you should ask yourself after doing networking, is what did I achieve from that particular session? I always say to people, don't go to an event unless you've got a plan and you understand who you're going to see there. Then what you also need to know is, how are you going to introduce yourself? Because networking in often instances is about standing out. How do you, as standing there, stand out to everybody else? So it goes to ask a question, because now after this I'm going to come and have a personal conversation with you. But over and above that, when I do ask you who you are, you need to be able to craft that in less than 2 sentences. Imagine always you meet me in a lift, and you must always understand yourself so much that every opportunity you get, you leave me with enough information to call you when I need somebody like you. And that's all it's about. Most people don't get it. We all get into these facades of trying to go and explain, I'm the best, this at that. 20 people else in this room are that. What is it about you? What is your unique selling proposition that you're trying to make me understand so that I can look at you next time I have an opportunity? And the other question was around, no, sweetheart. If you go, if you don't drink, you can't endorse hunters. It ends there. Because now you're trying to sell your soul to the biggest bidder, and the moment you do that, we know. There's no gray area. Don't go and endorse a brand that you, in fact, I even go to the point of saying, if you don't drink Hunters, and you know you're always drinking whiskey, do not. Because at some point, we're going to catch you out. Today you're selling this, and then the next day you're selling me something different. Already, you're not authentic. So for me, there's like no gray area. I could be just maybe too strict and old school, but I know there's other ways of making money, you know, with a passion that you have and something that talks to your heart. Because understand, if it doesn't wake you up in the morning, there's no point doing it. If it doesn't wake you up and get you excited, don't do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Any more questions?
Yeah, guys, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. What's one about? Guys, you got any questions? Anybody got the panel is right over here, guys. If you got any questions on branding, PR, digital distribution, anything you guys want to know, the guys are over here. And they're going to be with us throughout the whole night. So hopefully you guys don't bombard them too much. But, you know, they are over here and they are going to answer your questions.
So we're done, we're good.
Yeah, let me come through.
Can you come stand over here? Please?
Sorry, thanks so much for this opportunity. I just wanted to ask, maybe to all three of you, how you navigate a space where all the marketing and the branding and everything else happens on social media if you're an awkward person. You're passionate about what you do, you love it, wake up in the morning, but you're awkward and you don't know how often to post on social media. You don't know if you sound cool on Twitter.
So that's your brand already, right there. Like that's it. Like there you go. Like that's what you can tweet about. You can like it literally is about being yourself. I mean, like anyone that's like famous on Twitter, anyone that's like famous on the internet, is accentuating themselves a bit more. It's like wrestlers, like they get like, you know, no, like they're like themselves, but they're like this. When they really take off, it's because like it's a part of themselves that like is accentuated, and that's who you are meant to be. Like if you're trying to gain an audience, I mean, if you just want to be on Twitter, just be on Twitter. But like, obviously that's not what you want to do. But that's your personality now. That's it. So buy into it and like literally expose yourself, because people relate to that. People relate to honesty more than anything, in my opinion. Like that's typically like what I feel about anything that works online is just honesty accentuated.
Some people just like awkward. So.
Cool, guys. Yeah, do we have any more questions? Okay. I see.
Good evening, shout out to the panel. Quick question. So, I've got, this is not me personally, 5,000 people that have seen my video on YouTube, music video that is. About 15,000 people that have seen it on Facebook. What's the next move for me in order to get out there?
Well, how do you get it to those numbers already?
Just by posting my video and boosting it
or have you sent it anywhere? Because I mean, that's obviously the next step.
I've sent it to a couple of industry professionals, which, you know, as usual.
But what's your approach being there? Like how, like, what's your packaging, essentially, as Fiso was saying earlier, like how are you presenting yourself within like that? Because that's essentially like you need to be able to stand out, because obviously your numbers there are like decent, like that's a solid start. And now, I mean, it's about like the package around you. Like if you send me something, like I don't know you've got 5,000 views until I click the link, and you need to get me to click the link. So it's about presenting yourself, like, you know, before that.
So how do I get you to click the link if I just have your phone number?
As I said, you gotta be yourself, be funny, be interesting, be different, be unique, and also just, yeah, like but you gotta submit it. Like, I mean, I don't know if I've received your music, so, like, if I have, I'm sorry. It's not a musician, it's just asking for other people.
Oh. I think on my side is I always believe in consistency. Okay, so you do your music and you get your views, and you don't stop. You know, you go to Sfiso, you know, you leave your demo, you make sure that you call and you become consistent. But more than anything is if you got something great, and there's gonna be one person that's gonna believe in you, and then one person can open up all the doors for you. You need to find that one person, and if it's your time, and and the time is right, and all the stars are aligned, you will get the opportunity because you're meant to be there. And if you believe you're meant to be there, you will be there. The universe will make sure that you get to where you want to be.
Cool. I appreciate that. Check out @TinoSA. TinoSA on Facebook and Instagram.
That was the universe project. Yeah, guys, before we wrap it up, I know there are some rappers over here who got questions. Anybody with any more questions?
Hi everyone, this is Lonnie for C Major SA. Hi everyone, this is Lonnie for C Major SA. I'd just like to ask you, how do we go about creating a hype and a buzz for, you know, these guys, and the album is about to drop internationally by Sound Music in France. So we just want to create the hype and buzz in South Africa. So how do we go about just making sure that people know that these guys are just, you know, about to drop the album? Already there's a buzz on social media, you know, Metro FM as well, but how do we just keep on making sure that people are aware of the album that's coming, and obviously creating a following that is bigger than what they have right now?
I think for me, and I'm not one that believes in gimmicks, but sometimes they do work. What I often say to people is, yes, you've tried the social media, yes, you've tried all these other things, right? And I understand it might be difficult for a young and upcoming artist to do certain things. But maybe find somebody that believes in you enough, the same way you do, to invest in you. Or better yet, invest in yourself. So if you have to invite certain people to a listening session, do that. If you have to send them properly packaged packages that have the music that you know, once they get it, they will most definitely write about it or create some buzz around it, then do those things. Oftentimes people expect to put out music and then somebody's going to hear about it somewhere, and they're not willing to invest in themselves. It also goes to the point of understanding how to pay people that can get you there. Pay people who know how to give you the strategies for you to be able to get to that point. Even if you pay somebody who you know is a PR specialist, like there's many of them, High Press, Maria McCloy, somebody, go and find out from that person, how can you assist me to move forward? How much do you cost? And if I can't pay you right now, how else can I pay you? Not in kind, but obviously there's many things that you can do, you know? Like barter your services, for instance, for something else that they would want you to do for them. just think of creative ways around how you can put the music out there. Oftentimes, you guys also sit and say, well, I'm a star, I ain't gonna perform for free, and we're not gonna do this. But guess what? Sometimes you may do me a favor, and I introduce you to Tulu, I introduce you to Bob, I introduce you to everybody else, because you did that one thing. So think about it. It could be one, it could be two, but it's there. Yeah.
I think I agree with Peter. So, you know, when it comes to this business, it's a business. You know, you need to have a plan. And when you start attending such sessions, you know, stop looking at the people who are here alone. There's people here. They all have great minds, and they all have big dreams. And together, you can find someone here who's probably starting to be, you know, a PR, you know, a specialist or a marketing, you know, person. So you guys can sit here and come up with great ideas. You don't need to meet me or meet Pinda or Bob. You know, you just have to believe in also the people who are as hungry as you, and you know, and they're passionate as you, and you guys can come up with amazing ideas and can work together. You know.
I mean, well, look at Art Future, like just the way they created, like exactly what you're talking about. Like we're working together. Like this is something like I've said for years now. Is that the people at the bottom need, like, the way you pull each other up is obviously teamwork, and it's about promoting each other. It's not just about promoting yourselves. It really is about getting the teams together and going, we are this, and we're going to work together to provide this and to promote this. But on another level, real life stuff matters more than online. It really does. And performing live is probably something that I think a lot of artists these days don't care about enough, and it's the best advert for you. It's where you're going to make most of your money. I mean, trust me, AK is making more money off his live shows than he is off his radio plays, and he's making a lot of money off his radio plays. Like, you need to realize that unless you are a studio producer or whatever, that making music is about a real life experience, and it's about, like, I know, like, these guys here, like, I mean, I see Sweeso out all the time. Like, it's not just like that's, you know, he's on the radio or whatever. He's in real life at the gigs, not promoting himself even, he's just being there. And through that, he's known. Through that, his work is known. Through that, people get to know you. From actually being in there in person and also performing live, you can make a much better name for yourself than trying to get extra followers online. Those followers will come if you are doing it live.
Thank you. I think we're going to have to wrap it up with the questions.
Yeah.
If you have any more questions, the panelists are going to be here around for quite some time, so you can chat to them nicely, you know, don't be that guy. We've got performances by Deep Red. We also have Tribal performing later, but I think we're going to start with Deep Red.
Deep Red?
Shout out to our panelists.
Yo, so shout out to our panelists. Give our panelists a round of applause, guys.
Because we have the hashtag, guys. That's something on social media.
Hashtag start something. Say, guys, don't go anywhere. It's still about to get real fun. Let's handle.